Right, and we are back on the scene as I get the honor of commentating this match for you. We have Demon Knight back again on the side stream. Unfortunately, their last game wasn't able to be streamed well due to some issues, and up against Bone Smashers, who are a higher seed than them, and we see them showcase just that as they pull off this attack with their composition of Vice, Drekar, and Rasmus here in Inkies actually, which is an interesting pick, and Donkers makes sure that Minarok's abilities are on cooldown with that first strike and strikes it right in, as Minarok is left without an option, without their abilities. Yes, as I was saying, Inkies is an interesting game that you don't really see often in these tournaments, but it is a pick, especially with also Bone Smashers opted for a no ban this game. Maybe they were keeping their options open, maybe they just wanted the intimidation pick, and what a synergy. That core wasn't going to hit right in maybe, but the Vice Thunder hits it again. The Zap hits it slightly forward, making the Rasmus primary land not only on Minarok, but also on the core, hitting it in. Now we see again Bone Smashers on the attack as they pull off this eject button offense. And now they did take the barrier. And now Evercrombie is also low on HP without their energy. This might be a power play angle, maybe for the Bone Smashers, but they seem to be more focused on the core itself as SMG teleports to the backlines, taking a dodge from Minarok, who is also left without energy now. Their energy economy is vastly superior here, and as we see, almost all of the team is building up to a burst, but of course, the set ends faster than those bursts finding results as the power play finds the goal. And now we see Bone Smashers are going to be rewarded with this draft. Let's see what they opt for here. Donkers has a lot of options here, especially with Might of the Colossus, size being a very important stat on Rasmus. Might be their choice, but actually they go for the specialized training, maybe even denying it from Minarok because of how the edges behave in this game. In this map, you might get unexpected chaos, and maybe that's to block that and maybe get some of their own. As they opt for damage, and we see Hotshot being taken up by Kitpan as Minarok is opting for missile propulsion, and heavy impact actually gets chosen by Potente here, especially with the Deadeye 2. They might be looking for some banish kills, but before they can even do all, SMG gets banished actually, but the eject button does survive until the last moment, and also Potente here gets taken down, but by all the damage that they have to endure. But before I can even form words, the power play finds the net. They do seem to be showing up quite the dominant seeding here. Maybe the seeding was correct, but of course we will not see Demon Knights go here without a fight. They will try to pull this up, and what a pass play by Bone Smashers, going right in, and Donkers takes the strike war and puts the core in the net once again in a record time of 9 seconds for this set and series. Let's see here. Donkers is getting damaged quite a lot with all the missile propulsion ult, and maybe even now a banish might come through his way. But we see now SMG and Kitpan are gonna be defending with the Drakar's Vice combo, especially with Drakar in midfield. Now does get banished, but the secondary doesn't find Kitpan as SMG uses their own ult to push Potente away. And talking about pushing him away, Donker sets the nail in the coffin with their primary, with Clockwork, and Kitpan is just there to finish it off. What Donker starts at the corner, the setup of it. They swap their roles for a swift moment as they were positioned better, and they do take it the second set also home. And once again, we see here Donkers is rewarded with the draft. They will be taking stack on stacks here, which is a great awakening, especially on Inkies where mobility is really important. Aerials gets taken by Evercrombie here. And then we also see Kitpan opting for Spark of Agility. Again, all the mobility talk we did is another reason for the Glass Cannon being taken on Minarok's part. And we see Siege Machine taken by Potente here, right after SMG's pickup of build difference, opting for probably more damage. And the size is a help too. Now the third set, would be game for Bone Smashers. They definitely will be looking out for it, and Drekar now here utilizes his primary for Minarok, taking that barrier down, and SMG now has the cannon and the cannon is used. Abercrombie tries to stall it out and manages to do so, and now they are looking forward, and Donkers is just too fast with the setup and the secondary, striking it right into the net. And now we see once again Kid Pan is it at the perfect spot, and now a bit of back and forth passing between Donkers and SMG as they form this trio. They will be looking to again capitalize on the forward positions, but SMG does miss a strike, which leads to a bit of a loss of tempo, but nothing much here. Abercrombie on the offense now with Potente. They are looking for something here. The barrier could be taken down, but Donkers and the Swift thing and Minarok, unfortunately, maybe not used to playing Inkies. As SMG shows us, the side KO is found, which would only happen in the fiasco that is Inkies. And now, on the attack, Abercrombie and Potete are trying to get this barrier down, and Minarok pushes it forward with the barrage, looking for a position, but SMG was looking for something more, looking for the KO, and he does get it with his burst. Donkers now passing it right into SMG's ultimate, which pushes Minarok away for the final goal of the series, for a swift win for the Bone Smasher side. A dominant show. One is curious between the dominant shows of Bone Smashers and the one we had earlier with Chudlocked. Which would survive? Maybe that is to be something to be seen. And will the Demon Knights pull up something from the losers bracket, maybe up into the brackets, and have a chance at re-challenging these dominant giant figures? We will see you again with the next game upcoming. Right, and here we are with the top 16 match, the first of all of them. Match A, we have Team Eagle versus Bliatz. And we have, on the side of Bliatz, we have Selassie, Wood, and Yankate. And the opposing side, Eagles. People we've already seen before with a dominant show. Let's see if they will have a repeat of it. We have Dinfar, Vaughn, and Scythen. Now, we see team comps that are both very, I want to say, available for KO. They both teams have a lot of damage, and to supply it, they all picked explosive entrance over their secondary awakening, which I cannot fully remember what it was. Now, we have Wood and Selassie on the attack, with Yankate's one barrier taken by Saiton and Dinfar already. Wood now trying to get something out of this corner, but as it always is, Clarion Corpse is enforcing a lot of switches, but the burst is used by Dinfar here, but also so much damage with that voice ult. Vaughn got the power play, taking Selassie down, and now Wood is going to be looking for that orb, trying to make sure that their team doesn't get it again. And now Wood surviving just barely, but it is not gonna be enough. Hit after hit, all the stuns are coming their way, and the power play makes sure to find the net against Yankate. And now, with the Obscura map of Clarion, with the Obscura variant of the Clarion. Oh, but what an unfortunate zap coming for the side of Yankate. They give one barrier, and the eject button just doesn't pay off. Saiton's death touch manages to get the red core, and with the red core gets the second barrier. Now Wood, very little on HP, actually staggered and doesn't have any energy to boot. Now they will be looking to survive in front of the enemy Goliarch. Same with Dinfar, who has no HP but and also no energy. They just depleted it. Wood now coming back to the game, so resupplying their damage as both do. With Dinfar as well, Vaughn, instead of taking the shot, goes for a pass, and it pays off as they set up at the offense, and Dinfar gets it in with glitch pop. And now, once again, at the top side, Yankate rotating bottom, and now with the Atlas variant, they will be pushing this bottom corner, Team Eagle, but they do manage to get out of it. Wood looks for the orb and does get it. Death touch by Saiton is left on blank, and now Selassie also takes a lot of damage. Wood now dribbling it, but the passive is just at the wrong time, resulting in a barrier not being taken. Vaughn here with the ult is going to try to deal damage, gets their energy instead, and goes back with the eject button, and now is here to supply the forwards with the core, but Yankate finds the angle to Selassie, and now the pass is found, but the burst gets Vaughn, but Vaughn's burst is denied, and the barrier is taken, the net is open. And now we will see Yankate pushing this core, defending with Alive and using their burst right up top, and Dinfar is too late to use their burst, and actually now with no energy they will be taking a lot of damage, but Dinfar with that little HP does manage to get the second barrier, and the open net is now for both teams, and the red core from the middle almost finds the goal but doesn't quite get it. Wood now on stagger without energy. Vaughn uses their ult, but Din is there to cover the blank of it, but the Yankate doesn't return to the reject button at the last millisecond. The barrage stun, the barrage locked them in, and they couldn't return to the reject button, resulting in the core just going through. Even though Selassie tried to save it, they didn't quite manage. And now with this victory, Team Eagle will be looking at a draft, and Dinfar is once again at the top of this draft. They will be picking up peak performance in a game with this much damage. That stagger will be handy, and of course speed is the king of everything at this game, as we all know. Alongside CD, team player, just a great awakening to have on a goalie. Yankate picks it up here, and Vaughn is going for more damage. Prize Fighter, they're going to be trying to get as much power as they can with that, and now Fight or Flight is left on their Zentaro. Fight or Flight is picked up by Wood, and Selassie we see here go for fire up. We can see that the Eagles picked up a lot of awakenings that personally benefit them, and Saiton also picked up sparks, which might come up later in the game if they can keep this victory going, if they can get another stat maybe. And we can also see that Team Bliatz here took awakenings that more so benefit their team, and now in offense, Wood is going to be trying something. but Celsi also, they get it together, but they cannot quite find the gap that they need to find. Yankate defending here with a nice dribble on the wall, and now Wood on the offense. They will be trying them tricks, and what a trick it shall be. Scoring magnificently. Wood is there, striked in. And now we see that the Bullets are looking for a series of their own. They don't want that spark pressure on Saitan. And with that said, they do find the first barrier. Yankate now going to defend the bottom barrier, but in doing so, they take so much damage from Vaughn. But they do have their orb to compensate. Now Saitan does manage to grab the middle orb, but in the process gets damaged a lot by both forwards of Team Bullets. Now they are in the defense. Woods tries to make something happen here, and while they do so, they catch Saitan with their ult. The 1000 slashes is enough to take Saitan down, and now they are going to be trying for the second barrier, but a burst does find the first barrier for the side of Eagles, and now Din is gonna maybe be looking to use their burst to open the net for their team. And now the offense coming from the Bullets, they are pushing the top corner, hoping to get the ball through to Wood, but Wood is damaged a lot with their burst up. However, they could get a barrier here, but the glitch pop stun puts them out of their route, and they don't quite get it. Celsi though does get the barrier open. Now both teams have their nets open, and Yankate here defending with the Giga Blast. They don't want any setups going on, and Vaughn tries to get the kill on Yankate, but doesn't quite get it. But in the absence of Yankate trying to get orb, they find the gap through Celsi and into the net in the power play, succeeding. Now again, the Obscura variant is dangerous for both teams here. Vaughn, look, hitting that guitar emote. And now, yeah, they are just going to be ping-ponging in this upfield. Nobody wants to go in there, because if you get damaged slightly, they know that everyone will focus at you, and you will get to them, just like Celsi is right now, as they are getting pushed around. They do have their burst available, however, so they might be able to stall here for slightly longer. And they are surviving, especially with Juno's vulnerability on the secondary, but they do get caught eventually. But it is after they have used their burst to open the second barrier, opening the net for their team. Now Saitan on Din, both low on HP. Saitan, however, is regenerating their strength, but the Obscura field does also damage them. Now Din, on no HP and no energy, will get caught by Wood for maybe a kill, and yes, there the kill is found. Yankate is without stagger or energy, but this does not matter, as Wood, the power play that they found themselves, they do benefit off of, maybe at the cost of their life, but hey, that's just regenerating energy to me. And now they will be trying to force something on the upside, Team Eagle, and even if they don't get any barrier, they do so much damage, and well, they do also get a barrier. And now the burst is used by Saiton for the second barrier, but Celsi is there to stop that. And now Yankate is a bit caught too forward, and because of that, the gap is found. Without skills, he cannot defend with that HP. And both teams now at the 2-goal mark, they will be looking to win this set point. If the Eagles win the set, it might be troublesome for the side of Bullets, as the spark is quite dangerous, especially on Erasmus, that has been doing well so far. Of course, with the assistance of their teammates, Vaughn and Din have been doing great in the assisting of offense and both defense. And of course, Bullets are to, of course, not be underestimated, and they quite show that, as I, just was talking about how good Din was doing, and well, they are taken out by the Giga Blast coming off of Yankate, combined with the stagger and stun of their teammates. But now the power play does result in 2 barriers being taken, but eventually the 2 barriers do turn around, and once Din is back on the field, he makes sure that core goes in, and the set is won by the side of Eagle. And Saiton with the MVP. Again, this is very dangerous. If any spark pops up here, and the spark of strength is there, however, he might opt for something else, as there are good awakenings here. Bulk up is very strong, but no, they are just going with the tried and tested spark of strength. It will be providing with a lot of power, especially in this game where everyone has the ability to do a lot of damage. Zentaro with the bulk up here is not surprising. The stagger that you get from it is very important in this matchup, and also the power from it, of course, is not to be underestimated. Yankate does get stacks on stacks, which will provide them with further mobility, maybe minimizing their, their ability to be punished by walking upwards. Dinfar does manage to get a siege machine, increasing their projectile range. Might be incremental in this game, and Vaughn dangerously so, gets hotshot. More cooldowns on that Vice is not something you want to see on the side of Bliat. But something you do want to see is a big Celsi wandering around after getting that orb from the middle. And now Yankate joins the offense, and he gets the pass through to Celsi, who smashes it right in with the help of the blobs. I swear, if I am mispronouncing any nickname, I will be very mad at myself. So I hope I'm not, but oh well. Now, okay, Yankate is being focused here by Vaughn, which makes sense because Yankate was out of energy. So that is a very dangerous spot to be in, especially with a Vice with hotshot around. And now they will try to get Din with a Giga Blast, but Din sees it through, uses their dodge, and now is now pushing through. And yeah, Vaughn is TP'd in. He will use his ultimate to protect this, and Din and Saiton are just hitting Yankate up and down and pincering. And unfortunately, even with the help of Wood, they cannot get the score through. Now both teams at 1 goals will be looking to take an uphand. Now Din tries to get a bounce going, but unfortunately that try is intercepted by Wood, who turns it into an attack with Celsi, and they do manage to get both of the barriers, but Wood unfortunately has to waste their energy burst trying to get it. Now getting some damage on Dinfar will be useful. Yankate unfortunately loses a barrier to a bounce, and Wood wins the strike forward, pushes the core forward, forces Vaughn to use their burst, but to Nai. And now Saiton will try to get it with Death Touch, but Celsi denies it with the blobs. They will blob all over the place and to the top corner. Now, set point for the side of Bliatz. Celsi with the patience is going to wait this out. And what a Giga Blast by Yankate, taking Saiton out. Power play for the side of Bliatz now. But a strike missed is a barrier lost for the side of Bliatz. But, of course, the bounce from that, the bounce from that is a sign of a barrier taken, and the second follows. And, ooh, with the second following, an unfortunate drag goes right through Vaughn and takes the set for the side of Bliatz. Their first set, they will be looking for this comeback. They are not off the game just yet, and we see actually one of the rewards of the LAN, the Lanimal title, being utilized by Celsi here. What a title. And okay, now, with the rewards being here, Rapid Fire, a great awakening, especially for Juno, but Heavy Impact is also great for Dinfar here. He will also be denying Zentaro with that, but Zentaro also has a good option of Reptile Remedy. Keeping your survivability and denying it from the enemy team is always good in a game like this, where both teams are looking for chaos. Chrono Boost, taken by Vaughn, gonna prolong that stun, gonna allow them to ult whoever they stun, is incremental. We see Berserker being taken up by Saiton. If they are targeted by damage, they can hit it right back. Especially with the Spark of Strength, it could result in dangerous amounts of strength. And also Glass Cannon on the side of Yankate. This cat is getting dangerously fast. And this cat is also dangerous overall. What a Giga Blast. Takes Dinfar out of the game. Power play for the side of Bliatz. Will find the first barrier and the second that follows. And now Celsi will be looking for a bounce to set up this attack. But the setup is denied by Saiton. Now Death Touch tries to take the core down, but Yankate is expecting it. And the eject button allows them to defend their barriers. Holding both now. Wood is trying a dribble up front and does get it through, but not through the other forward. Dinfar here blocking the attack. But an unfortunate double barrier angle is found by the side of Eagle. Gonna mean that both teams have an open net here. The burst is used by Vaughn for the defense. And now they're going to try to push this slowly up forward, setting up their attack. As Dinfar is trying to get it through this little gap, but the Giga Blast almost finds the goal, slightly missing it. And now Wood and Yankate both up front. And that up front attack will result in a goal for their team. Now again, we begin another stat with the era variant. We see slick kicks being triggered by hitting the middle orb. But as I was saying that, actually, both barriers were taken by Wood's bounce on the side of Bliat. They have the net open for the opposing team. Now Wood also has their burst, which does mean they might be looking for goal angle here. And the Giga Blast does get it through to Wood, but the primary on Vice just blocks it. There's another bounce to it, but Vice blocks it again. Wood is now back, trying to get Saiton here, and they do quite manage to kill him. Power play now on the side of Bliatz with 3 bursts. they will definitely be looking to score here, and Yankate doesn't even want to use the burst initially, but he does eventually, running all the way up, right to the face of Vaughn, using their burst, and staring into the net as they pop it in. Now again, energy economy is smiling for the side of Bliatz. 2 bursts, while the Eagle side is kinda low on energy. They might be asking the viewers for energy for that. But now, talking about no energy, Yankata also has none, and that seems to be costing them, as the team of Eagles will be doing a constructed attack that's beautifully taking both of their barriers, but Wood, now on the counter side, gonna take 2 barriers, one after the other, with their burst. And now Celsi does have burst, so they might be able to look for a goal with that, as both teams are now in open net. Yankate pushing it through 2 people, and Wood is there to assist. Celsi is right there too, but the burst is missed. Yankate now has no skill other than their prime secondary active here, and they will be looking for the attack, but the dodge on Yankate is gonna use up the last bits of their energy to defend. Now Wood looking for the core up front to get the score in, but Dinfar also has that burst, and Saitan is building up to it, so they might be looking to use those to not surrender this set this quickly. Celsi will be trying to get an offense, but Saitan denies it, and Saitan finds the angle with the overtime boost, finds the red core. Yankate, who doesn't have any of their skills, will not be able to defend that, and Saitan does get the core and the goal for their team. Now both teams are looking to build energy. Now, once again, we are in the Obscura variant. Very dangerous for both teams here, especially for the ones with bursts. Like Dinfar here, they will have to be careful, but Vaughn sets up a beautiful offense that Dinfar capitalizes on with their burst as well, taking both barriers, open net. Now for the side of Eagle, they will be trying to capitalize on this. Vaughn is right here too, and the stun from Vaughn wastes the strike of Yankate, and Din capitalizes on that beautifully, striking it in, setting up for match point for the Eagles. Now Vaughn walking up with Satan in the middle. They will be trying to set up an attack here, but Wood denies it, trying to set up their own attack, and they do so. This top corner is getting a lot of use here, and Yankate, the barrage doesn't quite find the target, but and what a burst usage by Satan, slipping it right past Yankate, right under Yankate and everyone to get the second barrier as well. Now Bliat's net is open, so they might be looking for something here, but the net might be open, but what an ultimate on Vaughn, taking the double KO. Could be the mark of this game being over, as Vaughn walks up with Din, passing back and forth, using the ult. What a game, dear viewer, what a game, what an ult, what a watch. This was seriously some fun. Congratulations to both teams, what a valiant effort from both of them. And though this time the Eagles come out victorious with a glorious game truly. And let us see what will happen on the other sides of bracket on the top 16. We shall see you soon, hopefully. And don't forget to check out the main stream as well. Alright everyone, we are looking at the game 2 of the series with Eagle on the Inky's splash zone, taking first pick, gonna land their ban, right here. Increase splash zone with specialized training and berserker. Again, we will seemingly look for a KO heavy game, maybe some kind of Luna pick or any other. Basically, anyone who can utilize specialized training will be preferred here, in my humble opinion, as Inky Splash Zone can be a dangerous map, and both teams for sure will want to take advantage of the starting awakening, of course. While, of course, something that benefits from being low on the HP and core control could be used for Berserker, it definitely is a risky path to take, and it might be too risky for the liking of both teams here. We see Estelle being picked. I mean, it's no surprise, right? It's the best midfield in the game for a reason, according to many, of course. And now we will see two picks on the side of Billiards. What will they be bringing up to this game, to this series, as they hope to cling it back to get this game and give us that game 3 for a hopefully a win of either side, of course. Now, the first pick that they end up on is going to be Atlas, which makes sense. I mean, it's a good character and does help again if any of the teams go for a damage comp. He's going to help you with his ultimate. Juno here again is just a good damage dealer, and besides, they saw it work very well. I'm gonna guess it's all going into Celsi again, and if that's the case, it might be a very strong option. And we see X here again, a character that can utilize specialized training will be used. All right, and into the fray we go again in keys. With we can see here the picks of Eagle gonna be Vaughn on the rune. We have seen them make quite good use of it, especially with the front lines, right? They have been using it great on the goalie role, helping their forwards. And we see Saiton again on the Rasmus. I mean, if it works, why change it, right? Of course. And we see again, not again, sorry, but a new pick of Estelle. But Estelle is such a strong character, and Dinfar, I'm sure, will make quite good use of it here. And we can see also the Awakenings. Both teams is going to utilize Berserker for most of their teams. Only the forwards seem to have picked up specialized training, so maybe not in the first sets, but definitely in the followings we will see some damage being turned around. And now both teams are gonna dish it back and forth, but Tinfar gets with the crystal blink, gets the barrier, and now Vaughn gonna block it perfectly with their secondary. And now the cannon is utilized to get it forward, but is denied by the enemy forwards. The stun into Banish is great on Wood, gets a lot of damage done. And now they will be trying to set up this primary, and they do manage to do so as they get the barrier, and now trying to get the goal too. And Celsi there to cover the off option, which Vaughn chooses, which they do manage to transfer into the forward, who Scythen greatly founds the off angle, the angle to the corner, and just puts it right in. Now, we will see again, they will be trying to utilize this, and Vaughn uses their primary to get the core, first touch on the core, but doesn't quite find it, but a KO is found on Wood. They will be, on the side of Eagle, we will see a power play now. Saiton trying to push this, and the burst is wasted by Din. They express their frustration with that emote, and now another burst being used by Celsi. Doesn't quite find anything, but does stall out the game for Wood to arrive, which they do quite soon. And now Wood is hovering over Scythen. They want this damage on Scythen, but their teammates aren't unfortunately able to damage him much, though they still are looking at him. And now a burst on the side of Yankate manages to find the barrier on the opposing side, and they do save it. They do save their own barrier from the burst of sight on Vaughn. Now denies the cannon offense coming from Bliatz here. Celsi gonna manage to push it through. Vaughn defends it with his utility, with his primary. Unfortunately, from the power play, the side of Bliatz cannot find the goal. And now Saiton is here to take that barrier with a great death touch. Now Dinfar might be looking for a secondary action here, but doesn't quite get it. And the cannon is summoned on the side of Eagle, and it does get Wood right before Yankate can pop their ultimate, which is gonna result in a power play that is currently being blocked by Yankate's utility. But the strike, the angle is not just right, it's slightly off. And unfortunately, that slight off of that angle is going to result in an own goal on Yankate. And now, set point for the side of Eagle. Vaughn is going to defend this upside from Wood alongside the help of Din. But Saiton manages to make a solo play work on the op-head, and Yankate is just caught not ready, not with any of their skills up. And Saiton is in the perfect place to receive that pass and smash it right in the top corner as Eagles take first set with a dominant showing of 3-0, and Saiton gets MVP here. There are good awakenings here for them to pick up. Stacks on stacks, rapid fire are all great, and size, as we all know, is great on Rasmus. They do go for the rapid fire. That might be too dangerous to give an Atlas, they determine, and they do take it. Glass Cannon now on the side of Yankate. They want more freedom on their mobility, it seems, and they seem to like that awakening quite a lot. And now Vaughn, with the Timeless Creator, will be able to defend for longer against, corner situations, even though that's not going to be found too much with Inkies. It's still a great awakening to behold, and Deadeye on Estelle is always great, especially if you want to use your damage from that rapid fire specialized training Rasmus. It will be a great awakening to pick up, and we see Wood utilizing the size that we talked about, picking up Demolitionist, and Celsi is going to be picking up stacks on stacks to utilize the mobility. And actually, speaking of all this, the side of Eagles have taken the barrier of the opposing side of Bliatz, and now is defending against a nice pincer by Celsi and Wood. They will be trying to find something here, but Vaughn's secondary denies it off the gate, and the strike shot just finds it. And the cannon is utilized to take Yankate down. He isn't able to special himself, and unfortunately that power play, that missing goalie situation, will be utilized by the side of Eagle to take the first goal of this set here. As now we can also see Team Bliatz here trying to set up this attack. Saiton takes a lot of damage in the trial, but the triple banish coming from one strike shot. Ooh, and what a hit! Wood hits Din down, but that quite seems to get it in the goalie. Stuns Yankate, and because of that, it seems it was a goal, unless I am mistaken. And now we see Saiton again propping up an attack, and what a fast attack! I cannot even commentate. What is this? Saiton gets the barrier open in less than 2 seconds, and Din is there to complete the 3-second goal. Again, a dominant showing on the Inkies map here by the Eagles. Truly, what a set, what a goal. And again, Saiton is with the MVP. They will be taking whatever they want here, and that will be explosive entrance, boosting their damage even further and giving them more speed. However, Egoist is taken here by Celsi, maybe trying to do something with the burst moment and stalling until then. It could be a strategy. Heavy impact here taken by Dinfar could be their answer to that strategy, exactly as they have a lot of damage now. Even Vaughn denies Wood's Might of the Colossus here, denies that power, denies that size scaling, denies everything basically. And now Wood is forced to take Stinger, which is not a bad pick by all means, but I do have a feeling that in this game you would have rather had Might of the Colossus, and Siege Machine is taken by Yankate to complete the draft. And now on the upfield, Dinfar is going to get damaged a lot here by the side of Bliatz, and they are trying to get something done. And Wood is damaged just as much, if not much, staggered. Now Wood, maybe the side of Bliatz would be looking for a power play, but Yankate is here to heal them right back up, denying that request. And Heavy Impact Dinfar tries to pick up a kill on Wood, but doesn't quite manage. And now the banish is here once again. Vaughn getting Yankate with these, and Dinfar does manage to finish firstly Wood off, and then the cannon is just utilized and it's just blasted right through alongside Selassie. It's very unfortunate. Yankate here will be looking for maybe more revives on their ultimate. But again, Team Eagles have snowballed quite a lot, especially with the levels too. Wood is left only level 3, and it seems they will be left even more back with all these kills being found on them with the crazy damage. Yankate now trying to revive Wood from the death. It seems that special doesn't quite work like that, however. Yankate now holding this angle. They will not be giving that barrier to the power play, but unfortunately they cannot hold on for much longer after the power play. But Vaughn now caught a bit too forward and does get their barrier taken, and now the cannon is going to be utilized by the sides of Puliat. They are looking for the net, and they do find SLC with a great block play. Finds the angle on Scython, who was trying to take the role of Vaughn, who have abandoned their post for a trial at their own goal. And now we see Dinfar with the burst and Yankate too, so they might be exchanging it for the defense here. Well, the exchange did happen, but Yankate refused to give their burst and instead used their skills to protect their net. And now they are holding this barrier down. Wood looks for a kill on Vaughn, but Vaughn swiftly escapes it with their secondary here. And now the banish comes through again. Yankate does hold on to their burst, and that was the right choice. But until now, and it holds, but Scython, Yankate Yankate was just stuck between two options of protect the core, protect myself, and he chose to, of course, protect the core, protect the net, which unfortunately cost him his life, which later cost him the net. Now Vaughn is going to be looking to push this forward, but Wood gets off massive damage on both forwards alongside their teammates, and they do get the kill on Dinfar, and now Scython left with very little HP and no energy. This could be a power play after another, and Wood is trying to transform it into one such occasion. Even though Dinfar is now back from their power play, Scython is still in shambles, and they will be looking for a kill on that, especially Selassie now will be trying to occupy these orbs alongside Yankate, not giving Scython anything. But Scython is still holding on to their life here, still holding on to the field. They will be going for the orb of their own goalie post, and they are back in the game. Unfortunately, the next power play was never found by the side of Pliats. Now they're pushing this through Selassie back and forth with Scython, and Dinfar finds the perfect timing to stun Yankate, but Wood unfortunately smashes their head against the pillar a bit too hard, resulting in a power play that ends up being the decider of this game to end the series, as Eagles take the series 2-0. Quite a valiant effort, I must say, by the side of Buliats. Were very fun games, but it seems the Inkies just didn't treat them right. As we see all the stats here, it was glorious, and we thank all the competitors, and I hope to see you in the next series. Welcome back everyone as we hop into a winner semifinals match between the Eagles who have been on the stream a bunch of times so far, and the first on the stream that beat that. And the winner of this match will be advancing to top 6 as we see again players taking onto the field, as we see again the offense, and we see a kill already on Dinfar as Leon catches them off guard from what I've seen. And now Paul Lucas will be directing this attack on the bottom corner as they try to find this angle to the goal. Nero almost gets taken out on taken out by Dinfar, but doesn't get quite knocked back. Now Dinfar on 1 HP with very little energy, only enough for one dodge, and as they attack this corner, Nero supplying the core back, and Leon just putting the core into the net as Lucas covers the off angle. We see some synced up emotes here. The digging. I'm sure it has different things, but now we see Eagles on the attack now. Dinfar orchestrates this attack with the ultimate on Aimi. The turret is going to find the second barrier as well. The net open. Now on the side of, and a kill found by Vaughn. Onto Nero here is gonna mean power play with the goalie missing for the side of Eagles. And they just take it down. They just do not have mercy on those. And yeah, with that said, we can look at the Awakenings here as we see two Deadeyes. Vaughn just saw that Deadeye and saw Finny and just locked it in. And Aimi, again with the Deadeye. Saiton does have 2 stacks and is looking to have more of them, attacking Leon, dumping some damage onto them. Leon is forced to back up into the corner, and actually, what a damage dump! Takes out Lucas here, an unlikely target maybe, but does get taken out here. Power play once again for the side of Eagles. The damage just has been a lot, and now Dinfar is trying to kill with the burst, but doesn't quite find the kill. Leon, no energy and no staggered, will be trying to survive, but Saiton is hovering over them. They want this kill and they do find it. Now, once again, a power play for the Eagle, which ends with a drum pass from Dinfar to Saiton. Will find the core. And yeah, now Saiton on 4 prize fighter stacks, with the opposing side having no stacks at all on anyone, means that Deadbeat Dats here are essentially playing without Awakenings here. Whereas Saiton is just roaming free with incredible amounts of power, 185 to be precise. But despite that, Leon tries to get a kill on him and does almost succeed, but is not quite there, and almost won't be enough in this case. As we see Leon and pushing this top corner does actually manage to get the net open, and as Nero helps this offense, and Vaughn is going to be trying this, and again they are trying to get Saiton, get those stacks off him, those price starter stacks, but they quite cannot manage to get it as he hovers without energy but not without HP. They are not staggered here, and Nero finds the pass to Lucas walking up, and Lucas just nails it down to the corner as Vaughn is left without their utilities that are used to damage the opposing side. Now, set point for both teams. This will be a very volatile game from what it seems. Both teams will be looking for kills and damage with all that prize fighter stacks, especially on the side of Deadbeat Dats. Having 3 prize fighter stacks means if you can get it going and get assist on your kills, but I cannot even mention anything before Saiton and Dinfar just gets that corner pressure greatly. Vaughn supplying the damage from the backline. They just cannot find the out. Deadbeat Dats and the Eagles do get the first set, and now let's see what they are rewarded with, as we see Explosive Entrance is an obvious pick for Zentaro here, but they might be looking for something else. Maybe some Spark of Strength action if they want to play for late, and they do leave it standing, maybe looking for something else. And yes, there is the play that I've been saying. Saiton will be looking to stack up those sparks alongside his prize fighter to be an ultimate damage, basically, like just kill everyone basically. It's Santaro, right? And now we also see Explosive Entrance on the side of Dinfar, which means with the Deadeye they will also be no less a threat than Saiton. And now Vaughn does have stacks on stacks, even more mobility, and talking about Vaughn, they snipe Leon right out the gates, getting those prize fighter stacks, well, stack away from them, which does mean a lot in the span of things, even if the power play doesn't result in much. And now we see again they will be trying this, and Scython finds the angle. Dinfar finds Scython through that angle and gets the second barrier. The net is now open, and Dinfar is now looking right at Lucas, and they will seemingly get the second barrier, but they don't. Dinfar is here to protect it, and Scython alongside Dinfar is looking for a corner, but it slips through both of them right into the second barrier. Now the net is open for both teams. Lucas will be looking for a primetime snipe, the primary snipe here, but it won't quite work out. And now Scython is building up to a burst, it is very dangerous. We can see them dribbling. Din tries to go for the gap, but doesn't quite find it. Team Eagle definitely is looking for Scython's burst here to maybe get that goal, but Vaughn is a little bit too late with the primary to stop that bounce off the drum. Lucas strikes the core right in and hits them with that emote. Okay, so as we look at the prizefighter stacks, we can see Scython sitting at a 2, and if it goes any further than that, it might spell trouble or even like doom for the team of Dead PTs. I do use that word a lot. Anyhow, we see Scython here using their ultimate, is gonna damage Lucas, and more importantly, take their burst, take their energy, even though Lucas here escapes with a bit of energy that they get. Vaughn is going to be trying to kill them. He's sitting on them, and the hover will send balls flying. That was a sentence. And now the strike shot is, Vaughn really is trying to kill Lucas here, but doesn't quite manage it. He's still using the abilities on Lucas. They are trying to get him, but Lucas clinging onto survival here, not only remaining on the field, but also drawing the focus, and the util of the enemy team is going to result in the barrier being taken, but also means that the damage from Lucas is gonna stack up against Dinfar, taking the power play now. Alongside the power play is found 2 barriers on for the side of that beat Dads. Now Vaughn defending with Din, who is now back into the field, and now they're trying to construct an offense here. Leon trying to get something, but doesn't get it quite done. Now Lucas gonna try to find a blink in the middle to get the core in, but doesn't quite do it. Now Scython trying to get the ball on themselves with the primary, but doesn't quite find it. I say that a lot too. Anyhow, and now, ooh, the angle, but Vaughn primary holds it in, but the Lucas just finds the angle to the bottom, and without the primary anymore, that will be in. As you see, that beat Dads try to take the setback and maybe get more awakenings for their side. As again, if Eagles get even more damage awakenings than this, it will get troublesome. It might not be showing right now, but in corner offenses, that is truly deadly. And now we see actually Dinfar on the side of damage, no energy and very low. Lucas and Leon both looking to get the kill on him, but the goalpost orb keeps him alive for slightly longer, and the drum saves Nero from a cheese kill coming from Scython on the front lines. Scython uses their burst to get that thin, and what an angle found by, again, Scython, just orchestrating this alongside Vaughn's help. Vaughn's supply, of course, is going to get that goal. They are not going to give this set away so easily. Now, let us see how this set goes. Scython is out of energy, which might make them a target. And speaking of a target, that exactly happens, and Vaughn is taken out of the game with the knockback on Leon. Now a power play for the side of Deadbeat Dads is gonna result in the other barrier being taken too. The net is open. Leon is damaged, but not out just yet. And the save from Nero means they won't be out for not enough. And Leon, not only are they not out, they take Scython out. And yeah, the prize fighter just makes this game so volatile. As we see here, Deadbeat Dads are going to be taking this set and will be winning this draft. As we see Leon maybe gonna try to take some damage here. Could be Build Different or Might of the Colossus taken here. Or maybe if they want to go real damage, they could go for Tempo Swing, and they do just that. They want the Tempo Swing, and Vaughn goes for the Glass Cannon. As they are quite speedy, they will be avoiding hits to get even more power. Size play seen by Scython here, taking Demolitionist, as they do get denied of Build Different from Lucas. And yeah, the remaining things are Timeless Creator taken on the Nero. Could prove difficult for Eagles to get over. And also, We can see Might of the Colossus taken by Dinfar. Again, Dinfar is slowly building this Awakenings to deal massive amounts of damage, which is going to be dangerous, especially in spots like these top corners, where they can just freely supply damage. And now we see both teams looking to take the second barrier, as they have already taken one, and Lucas takes the second barrier. Open nets now on the Eagles, but now Saiton is here to equalize the formula maybe, but he doesn't quite find it. Yeah, and the second barrier remains, as the Deadbeat Dats defended quite nicely, and Leolion now for a play on the front with the ultimate. They will stall that ball, and alongside Lucas will just strike it in with their primaries, their secondaries, just dumping the skills on a poorly caught Vaughn. Now, once again, here we go. We haven't seen any kills so far in this set, which is really where it stands, and Lucas here is gonna get damaged a lot, and Nero too, but they do have their energies. Same with Dinfar here. Just anyone who gets focused is going to be in trouble, but talk about kills, there is no need for it. Saiton is going to be utilizing their kit with Vaughn supplying them to the back to get it in. Nero unfortunately doesn't have their skills, doesn't have their secondary to go against the tide. And now they will be holding it forward on the bottom. They are going for corner pressure once again, Team Eagle, as Dinfar is going to try to supply this to the end, and Leolion tries a kick to Dinfar to take Dinfar out, but it doesn't quite get there. But the ult does stagger them, and Saiton finds a kill with the burst on a unaware Lucas. Now top corner pressure for the Eagles, along Dinfar and Saiton working together to get both barriers, and now with the burst they hold the game. Their patience from Dinfar doesn't quite pay off, but they are still on the offense. Something might come out of this, but Lucas is back in the game. They will be helping the defense on their teammates as they try to take the second barrier. And now Vaughn is caught one-on-one and Leolion, and they are forced to use their core, and Saiton now again on one-on-one with Nero does force them to pull the core up, and up there is waiting none other than Dinfar to smash the core right in. And now set point for the side of Eagles. They are looking to get this game unlocked, maybe with some more awakenings. They are looking to snowball things, and but their barrier is taken by Leolion and Lucas on the up corner. And as the same goes, top corner, Saiton and Dinfar just force it in there, and Saiton and Dinfar just pincerring so right. What a play by both of them. Just so coordinated, and great plays overall is going to result in the Eagles taking the set, and Saiton with the MVP will be rewarded with the first pick of this draft. And now we see, oh my, what a draft. Heavy Impact, Rapid Fire, Hotshot, Stinger, Bulk Up. All of these are fantastic picks. And let's see which one they opt for. Heavy Impact is opted for by Saiton. Makes sense, but does leave Rapid Fire and Hotshot on the take for Lucas, who opts for the Rapid Fire. And Dinfar, of course, goes for the Bulk Up. They already have the damage. They will be wanting more power and, of course, more stagger to survive. And Hotshot is taken by Vaughn here, gonna provide them with more cooldown to spam those damaging abilities, especially with Fini's already low cooldowns. Berserker on the side of Leolion might mean some kind of reverse kills found on the opposing team, which may go out of control. And the dash punch here actually finds the first barrier. Vaughn tries to save the barrier with the ult, and what a spectacular save actually with the ult of Fini here. Now Dinfar and Saiton will try something up, but Lucas and Leolion are positioned great to pause that offense. And now Lucas trying something, but Lucas is found dead on the street, hit by that glitch pop, I think. And Vaughn is gonna try to come up to help with the offense, but unfortunately the core slips past, killing some momentum, but the power play is still in effect as Lucas does come back to the front. They do defend the last barrier standing miraculously so. Saiton very low now, without energy, escapes kills quite avidly. Now Dinfar is gonna look on defense as Vaughn is looking to be offensive now, as we see them play together quite well. They position according to each other very well, but now the dash punch doesn't quite find the kill on Dinfar. And now Vaughn is going to be defending this as Lucas is staggered, but they do have energy, so they will be clinging onto life. As Dinfar, actually, speaking of life, an unlikely target. Leon is taken out by Cyton here, and Nero just doesn't have the time to ult it to save them. And now the power play will be trying to take the barrier on the top corner, and it does. And a snipe from Vaughn reboots the power play, even though Leon respawns. We see Lucas here is taking down to a Fini primary, and what a primary setup by Vaughn. Well, primary setup, sorry, an offensive setup by Vaughn takes this point for their team. And let's see what happens here. Vaughn is looking again on the top side to disperse some damage. Leon gets damaged quite heavily in the moment, but they do have slight energy, so they might be able to survive. They try a kill on Dinfar, but doesn't quite get it. Now, Dinfar is trying to make their own plays, taking the first barrier in the process. Leon is still heavily damaged. Nero with the Atlas ult will be surviving, so Leon will be surviving more here, and they do take the first barrier, but unfortunately cannot take the last, as the dash doesn't quite find the mark. An almost own barrier by Vaughn would be unfortunate, but is not there. The angle is slightly better, so it is not an own barrier now. Both barriers are taken on the side of Deadbeat That, so Eagle is definitely looking for the open net for the goal, but is not quite found, as both teams now have their barriers taken. And then open net, Nero saves the goal with a secondary at the last second, but cannot save it, does not have another secondary to hold the burst of Cyton here, who is going to be marking it in, now bringing it to Siri point for the side of Eagles. And now the plays are coming out. Nero is trying to help it, but Cyton without energy could be victim to a kill, but Cyton does survive. Unfortunately, their teammate goes for an unfortunate death, and now power play for the side of Deadbeat Dads is gonna result in another KO being taken. But unfortunately, even with this power play, they cannot take this second barrier. Now both teams sitting on one barrier as Cyton is respawned, and both teams will now be fighting on this bottom corner. The power play is rebooted as Dinfar gets thrown out by Leon's burst dash punch combo, and now Vaughn is stuck in his hard spot, gonna try to escape here, but it just won't be found, as Leon's dash cooldown is refreshed and ready to take that core into the net. Okay, and now again they will be trying to cling back here. Deadbeat that they won't let this series, game go so early. And Nero is holding it with the burst, and does manage to get it out in the top corner. Now Lucas is going to put pressure that claims the first barrier actually, and now Dinfar and Cyton slowly building up to an offense, but the slip is found by Lucas through to Leon, but Cyton finds the KO on a slightly mispositioned Nero, which means power play with a goalie missing for the side of Eagles. Now Vaughn is holding the offense, but Lucas with the abilities is just not gonna let the power play take the second barrier, and is now looking to survive, as Lucas is with no energy and no stagger, but cannot survive for long as power play is rebooted. Vaughn is here. A dash punch almost finds the KO on Cyton for a counter power play, but doesn't quite get it. And now Leon with the burst is gonna be trying to defend here, but the burst is denied by Din as he strikes it right back, opening the second barrier. Now an open net for the side of Eagles. Cyton is heavily damaged here though. With their energy, they will be looking to survive. Even if they are staggered, they take the goalie orb, surviving. Now, ball is going left and right, as both teams are looking for something here. And now, Vaughn is gonna be able to find the slip to Cyton, but Cyton is still getting damaged so heavily. And the Atlas primary bounces right back. Lucas will be looking to set up offense here. And that offense, an unfortunate own barrier from Vaughn. Fini primary just goes back too far much, and the burst from Cyton does find the net, but doesn't quite go in before Nero reacts with their burst. Now, Dinfar and Cyton is lacking burst, but so does the enemy team, even if they are building up to it. Currently has nothing. Vaughn uses their own burst to save what would be a goal. Leon is building their offense, building that dribble into the dash punch, which will take the point. Now making it a set point and a match point for Eagles, and a set point for Deadbeat Dads here. Dinfar and Titan meet in the bottom to push it into this corner. They seem to be very comfortable in the bottom, I must say. And Vaughn is walking up, but this walk up is punished by Lucas's burst. And the no energy is punished by Leon, as Vaughn is missing on the field now. Power play for the side of excuse me, Deadbeat Dads, and Leon actually finds the dash on Titan, but doesn't quite get the kill. Drum saves Titan here, and Titan and Dimfar looking to pincer Nero to seal this deal, but doesn't quite find it, as Deadbeat Dad defends quite well and does take Titan out with no energy or stagger to be found. Leon unfortunately misses their dribble. They cannot hold the ult, and Titan is back on the field now. The power play is unfortunately does not find anything. Now Din alongside Vaughn will be defending this bottom side, but Lucas finds the kill on a secondary burst on Vaughn, and without Vaughn they won't be able to hold that goal arc, as Leon smashes it in with a strike, taking this set, putting both sides on this fifth set. It's gonna be hard. Now Lucas is the first pick in this draft, with actually the side of Eagles having 2 picks before the enemy picks, which is quite, you know, not something you want, but pick performance is something you want, especially as Lucas. With more speed, more stagger, you'll definitely get more value, as Vaughn goes for the fire up, wants that energy for their team, and Reptile Remedy is not only a great pick but also a great deny for the opposing team. Recovery Drone will give you more survivability for Leon, and also more size, which is beneficial, of course. And the other 2 picks will be Sparks for Titan, actually, as there were 2 Sparks. They couldn't quite deny Titan from getting that Agility Spark, putting them on a great spot in terms of Sparks. If they can scale with Prize Fighter, they can clearly and very easily go out of control here, as they try to force this bottom path. Lucas is put out of energy, and Nero walks up a bit too far here, and Titan uses the dash cancel to get the barrier, to secure that barrier, but 2 barriers are found on the side of Eagles, now an open net. And now Leon is looking for a kill on Dinfar, but Dinfar evades it quite nicely, and now the pass to Lucas is intercepted by Titan, and the second barrier with the bounce up is going to be set up by Din for the offense, and taken advantage of with Titan to the top corner. Nero just cannot survive that without his secondary. As we see this match taking on to its last legs, both teams do not want to lose this first match, and Leon is trying to get a kill on Din, but the knockbacks are not going to be in their favor, as Din manages to survive. And now they are going to try to build up to an offense, but Lucas is here doing just the same. The burst on Titan tries to find the kill on Balls, but does not quite get it. Now Dinfar is setting up the offense for their forward here. Nero does find the angle out, but that out is only so long, and it won't be for long. But the kill on Titan now means, even though they have an open net, Team Deadbeat Dads here have the power play, and using the burst they try to take the barrier but don't quite find it. Vaughn uses their own burst to survive here, but Titan, they were only just back. Where did they go again? The power play is once again rebooted with Titan missing in the field, but Dinfar is holding it. Even doing their own defense in the absence of Titan will mean the power play won't find much here. Dinfar is pushing this core, is holding it, almost killed by the secondary, and the almost gets completed by the dash punch coming from Leon. Vaughn holds the score. They do not want this out. Titan now hovering over Leon. They do not want the core to reach them because they know that it would be deadly. And what? A snipe from Vaughn slips past Lucas, slips past Nero, finds the goal, which means now the side of Eagles is gonna have this match point to themselves. Vaughn slips their strike, which means the barrier is taken now on the bottom corner where they are comfortable, but unfortunately they cannot get a grasp of the core. Now Titan helping the defense here, but won't be enough. Even with Dinfar here, it's gonna be such a chaos, and the chaos will benefit the side of Deadbeat Dads, as it per does usual. As they find their first point in the set, they will be looking to claw this game back. Oh shit, my throat hurts. But not enough. Let us commentate. And top corner barrier is taken by Titan and Infire suddenly at the start of the game. But now Lucas trying to hold this and does so magnificently. And what was that weird bounce on Saiton, resulting in their death? Now using the burst, Lilion passes to Lucas, does find the second barrier. Now on open net, Vaughn is forced to use their burst to protect this goal arc, to get that kill out. But Lucas themselves are found dead, and the power play is now on the side of Eagles as Saiton finds a great primary, stunning Nero and taking the court to themselves, opening that second barrier. Open net now for both sides as Lucas re-enters the field. As both teams will be looking for this goal. Saiton and Infar building up this offense. Vaughn will be holding it. Here, Saiton with their low HP does go for the goal arc orb to keep in the game. They cannot afford being missing at this stage. And now Lucas is trying to find something here. Vaughn is defending. And Saiton tries to catch it but doesn't quite get there. Dinfar is saved by the drums once again. This is crucial for this game. And whoa, what a glitch pop! Finding 2 kills. Recovery drone might save Leolion, but there is nothing to save Lucas. Maybe would have been Nero's ult, but it is not out yet. As it holds, but Leolion does have their burst, but Vaughn with their ult makes sure that burst doesn't go up. But Lucas back on the field and back on the scoreboard as they find this primary piercing through Vaughn into the net, as both teams are now going to be looking for that final point to take this match into their hands. Dinfar with the patience will be setting up this top presence, this top pressure, and Lucas and Leolion here will be looking to do something of the same. Leolion definitely hovering for some kills here, but it is not quite found as Din is playing very carefully. Even Lucas is looking for a primary kill, but it's not found, and the secondary from Saiton will mean this double barrier. The second barrier is gone. Open net now on the side of Deadbeat Dad. Leolion is staggered, which means they aren't long for this world, even though Saiton themselves are low and without stagger as well. Both forwards won't be held for long, and the first to go down is Leolion, as the power play is now in the favor of Eagles. They do this. They are forming their attack. They are coming for it, and unfortunately, Vaughn just lets the ball slip. Lucas finds the angle for it and kills the momentum. Means power play doesn't find anything here, but the offense is still on. Vaughn, a missed strike will mean their first barrier is down, but the second one still remains as Saiton tries to find the core up, and the Saiton is saved by the drums, and now Vaughn is forced to use their burst to defend Lucas's piercing shot. Dinfar and Vaughn holding this up, trying to get a ball through to Saiton where they can maybe do something, but it is not quite yet found. Lucas is holding this game quite well, and Vaughn will be defending this last barrier. As Vaughn walks up, uses their strike shot. Now Saiton setting up for offense. Doesn't quite get anything from their ultimates. Dinfar will be looking to get something with their glitch pop, but Nero is defending with that secondary. Saiton, however, does build up to a burst, and so does Din. A good try from Din, but doesn't quite yet find it. Lucas will be giving it, and Saiton uses the burst they have for a power play kill on Leon. Now Lucas and Nero will be trying to defend this, as Lucas himself is going to be building up to a burst, but now Dinfar looking forward with their ult, with the burst, but the burst doesn't quite find anything. Leon is back on the field, and now both teams are holding this, but Vaughn loses their last barrier. Leon now with their abilities in the forward, and they get it done. I think that was an unfortunate glitch pop. I am not sure, but what a game! Pushing it towards the last moment, and what a last point as well. Valiant effort, great and gorgeous, glorious, whatever effort from both parties here. They did great, and I hope to see more of it in this upcoming match. After my short break, because my throat fucking hurts, I need water. And we are back with the game 2 of the series. As we see once again the players locking in their characters, we are going to be playing on Atlas Lab with Chrono Boost, which is already dangerous and which is why also Octavia was banned and you won't be seeing it in any teams. But we see Drekar and now who make great usage of that item, as well as of course Mako Truly. And we can see here that definitely deadbeat dads have gone more for the getting benefit of, like, both teams are definitely taking benefit, but what a like fast start. I cannot even talk as we see Eagles getting killed, like what sorry, didn't fall. What is going on in this game? There are no damage awakenings, but the positionings, it seems a bit faulty on both teams, as we first saw a power play for the side of deadbeat dads and now one for Eagles, though it seems that the Eagles have found more success from it, as we see a barrier standing on their side but none on the side of deadbeat dads. And let's see what happens here, and we see bottom corner is being pushed by Lucas, and Leon here doesn't quite find any barriers. Death touch attempt by Saiton, but Nero waits it out with the patience. But we also see a kill on Lucas here, who is repeating their Estelle pick. I mean, again, works, you can repeat it, right? And we see here patience with the burst on Nero, does manage to save it, but the now secondary will find its way to the core before a Drekar strike can, which results in a goal on the power play here for the side of Eagles. Now we are back again. Atlas Lab, definitely one of the favorite maps in the entire game, as it's very fun for both compositions in this game. And now we will see a burst on the side, and Dinfar's burst does get both barriers here, and what a burst, truly. And we see Vaughn also using their burst maybe here for defense, but no, they keep it. I like it. And now we will see the orb is being taken by Leon, who was invisible for it, and Lucas will be covering the up angle here, but the barrage manages to defend it against this great offense coming from the side of deadbeat dads. And Saiton's death touch attempt is denied by Lucas again, and Saiton just finds that angle through to the bottom after Vaughn provides them with the core. What a run up by Vaughn, and an angle pound by Saiton. Right, and we see once again Leon finds this angle for the first barrier, but as we know in Atlab, the first barrier is quite easily found, but the second is truly what can be a struggle sometimes. And the death touch here, Saiton does manage to earn it for his team, as Leon does manage to get out of the harm's way. And now it's actually Dinfar trying to survive, but of course you are now with your ult, with your secondary, you will be able to survive. And this bottom pressure, again coming from the side of Eagles, unfortunately this time does not find its reward, but now Din is once again setting up for that barrier, and now this time they earn it. And now Vaughn is going to be looking to set up offense for his team through Leon, through everyone, and get it forward. Saiton uses their burst to get it right up the net into Nero's face alongside Din, but doesn't quite find the core. Now Leon very low on HP, and also does have their barrier, so they can survive, but they will definitely have a target on their back as they try to dribble here. The barrage finds them and they are forced to use their burst, and unfortunately they don't find anything with it. And now Dinfar wins the strike war, and seeing that they won the strike war, just uses their burst, says, you know, fuck it, why not just punch it to the top pins, and takes the set for their team. Quite a dominant showing from the Eagles, wins them the set now. Heavy impact and hot shot both for the taking of Din here. He will be opting for heavy impact, of course, such a good awakening on now, especially when you consider that the multi-hits do count herself. And now hotshot being taken by Vaughn, as fight or flight is taken by Leon for that speed, for that mobility that they really like, that you really like to have on Atlab. And Reptile Remedy on the side of Saiton means they will maybe looking for more KOs, and of course denying their HP, denying their KO, as of course Lucas goes for the prize fighter, as they see nothing better to take here. And of course Nero here takes the recovery drone. The size is something that really benefits you with Mako. And now we see Vaughn actually running up to the offense, staying more than the Jack Button would like them to, but Din has their back here. And oh, a Sad Boys angle, and the Sad Boys emote comes through, but the Sad Boys comes back to bite them. And now we see the second barrier also taken by the side of Eagle. Open net for both teams now. Cyton is trying to set something up here. And now we see Din on the bottom corner, as they always like it, is gonna result in Vaughn pushing it, but Lucas finds a snipe on Din, meaning power play for the side of Deadbeat Dads here. It's gonna be difficult for Vaughn to defend, especially now with two options in the hand of Leon. You can cover one with Barrage, but the other one will bite you, and it does. The power play ends up being the demise of Eagles here. And now we see another start. Leon using their speed. They want to get on the offense fast, and the Sad Boys comes through another time, but again the Sad Boys bites back, and Leon finds the barrier through a primary here, but their HP is lacking as they find the orb. They are recovering now on the offense. Titan and Din find the angle. The strike war is won, and Nero unfortunately doesn't have their strike to strike it away, to clear it. As you see everyone in the frame having their fun. Look at Leon. They are full of joy, and this LAN has been full of joy. It's been a great game so far, and I do hope every player enjoys it greatly. And now bottom corner. It's always the bottom corner. The Eagles really love that, and they take both barriers off of it. But Leon is not gonna go home without anything. They take a kill on Dinfar with their burst, and now setting up offense on the top corner with Lucas is gonna mean that Vaughn is gonna have to use that burst to keep their barrier safe, and a Giga Blast is gonna blast it right past Nero and right into the top bins. What a blast. And now we see again set point for the Eagles. They are looking to take this home, but of course Leon is looking for a KO on Vaughn, but doesn't quite find it as Vaughn escapes it with the eject button. Now Lucas and Leon trying to set up attack on the bottom barrier after they have already taken the top one, and now Cyton is going to deny that set and gonna take their turn with their burst, but Vaughn, I believe, tries a Sad Boys but doesn't quite work out, and now it's an open net for the Deadbeat Dads to take their shot at it. And now Dinfar and Cyton constructing this offense, but Nero is gonna find that beautiful gap in the middle right to Leon, who takes advantage and shots that right in. As we see a set point for both sides. Once again, these players are just so fierce with each other. And now on the bottom we see an attack forming by the side of Deadbeat Dads, and they do manage to get the first barrier with it. They are maybe looking for more as they do almost find it, and the Sad Boys comes through once again. How many? And now Leon does find another gap, but Vaughn, such a nice dribble off the goal barrier, not their actual dribble, and Cyton here finds the top barrier of the opposing team. Eagles equalizing the barriers. Now the Giga supplies the offense. That's why you love to see Kai. Now the open net. The Eagles will be taking their shot at that open net. Now Din and Vaughn using their speed to really build up to construct this offense, as Vaughn is still holding on to that barrier. They still want to keep that alive. Leon will be looking for maybe a primary to get that barrier, but won't be found. Giga Blast will be denying it. Eject button. Now Vaughn is covering the top angle. Eject button did run out, but of course Dinfar is there to save it. Why else would Vaughn be that aggressive? After all, these are all great players in this game, and they have been really making it shown. But the core just does slip through. But Vaughn, of course, is there to catch it with the eject button. Now Lucas will be trying to set something up, as will Cyton. But Lucas is the first to mark, and the red core just doesn't bounce right. Vaughn does use their burst for the defense, but the burst finds Lucas, meaning it isn't clear just yet. But it is being defended quite beautifully by the side of Eagles. I guess it's Deadbeat Dads, but Lucas did build up to a burst. Now using that burst, will be trying to take it, but doesn't quite find it. Vaughn is there to stop that attempt, and Nero will be on the defending side now. Cyton finds it. Nero with the primary saves it. Burst comes out, doesn't find the barrier. Vaughn is playing it safer than usual. They do not want the barrier to go down, and they are now supplying it, and there they are, where we are used to seeing Vaughn. Cyton strike into a burst into another, and the bottom corner is found for winning the set for the side of Eagles. And Vaughn, the title is correct. They have been a LAN animal throughout all the tournament basically, and this match they're really stepping it up here. and they do deserve this team player they seem to be wanting. Unfortunately for the side of Eagles, the opposing team now gets 2 picks, which they might opt for maybe a KO, or of course aerials will be on Drekar. Peak performance will be found on Lucas. It seems they really don't want to deal with being KO'd, and of course the speed from it is always welcome. Spark of Agility and Explosive Entrance taken, Explosive Entrance respectively for Dinfar, and Spark of Agility on Saiton, maybe trying to build up any sparks in the case that you do lose this, and of course letting your now have the Explosive Entrance for that buff will be crucial, as the Deadbeat Dads are the first to arrive onto offense. They will be taking the first barrier, but Saiton and Din are not too late to it, and now Vaughn is defending against an STL, but the barrage is enough to hold it in the bar. Now here, to construct this offense, they really want that barrier. Saiton seems to be wanting something maybe on the off angle, as Din really wants to push this, and they do get something off of it. Vaughn here to supply with a strike, and that strike ends up benefiting them as they take the second barrier as well. Now defending against both, and Dion does have a burst, which they do waste it, but the barrier is taken, so you know it's not actually wasted, as Vaughn now setting up, taking more of a midfield role as they find themselves up in the field, but now they switch their roles right back as Dinfar is back in the midfield game. Leon is found a bit low and even lower on energy. Death Touch is trying to find the goal here. Dinfar, yeah, is going to be looking to build up into a burst, but the burst is unnecessary, it seems, as they find the bottom corner. Vaughn does have their burst up still, which is a significant advantage, and overall all of their team has that burst actually, and we see Lucas here will be looking also to build up into a burst site and constructing an offense on the top side, but the Mako Cage is there to stop it. Dinfar though does not want it to stop. The burst finds both barriers actually through the backline, but a barrier encounter is found, and before Vaughn can use their burst, the second one also is Saiton utilizing their burst, almost looking for a goal, almost looking for an in here, but doesn't quite find it. Lucas is there to save it, but not for long, as Saiton on the rebound finds the core and strikes it right into the net where Nero cannot reach it. It seems that the Mako pick maybe isn't working out as they hoped it would with the Chrono Boost. As we see again, the Eagles will be pushing on this bottom side, and Death Touch from Saiton will guarantee them this barrier. And from that barrier they move on to even further beyond as they take the second one. Though Din here is a bit low on HP and even lower on energy, they are now, so they will be healing that back up, as Leon in a 1v1 against Vaughn will be taking the first barrier. Now Lucas reviving this offense will mean the second barrier is also done, and now the open net is for both games, and Vaughn tries to get a kill on the Giga Blast but doesn't quite find it. He is now defending it quite marvelously against the other team, against the Deadbeat Dads. Will be finding this, and Lucas though does find the offense angle but cannot quite get what they want out of their skills. And now here with Nero's primary, maybe they would find something, but they don't quite get it. Saiton here utilizing their Death Touch quite nicely to maybe get a kill on Leon, but Leon survives against all attempts, and Lucas, in the gap that the attention being shifted to Leon leaves, will be taking the score, and they are trying to claw this game back, even though it is going to be match point for Eagles here. Vaughn and Saiton again building up to this top pressure, but unfortunate strikes means that Vaughn will unfortunately give their barrier here. Saiton building up to this offense alongside Dinfar, who was damaged, but again, Anao never stays damaged for long, and here the first barrier is taken with a Giga from Vaughn. Vaughn will have to use his burst here to defend their own barrier, and they do manage to get it out to clear it, and now they are walking upwards, slowly building up this offense, and the burst from Dinfar finds the second barrier, and they now have an open net that they will want to score on, but Lucas does not want that, as Lucas is pulled by the Death Touch, which does throw their offenses and does force them to use the burst. But now Leon is up in the task. They get the second barrier and is also looking for this open net now. Saiton building up their offense. The primary Doesn't quite find Nero for that goal, but now the Giga Blast is going to assist Nero. Great save with the primary. Now what an offense and the strike war that would determine the match ends in the favor of Eagles as Din wins it over Lucas and strikes it into the top score, winning the match for their team. What a match, truly. And now we see again the Eagles have earned this game truly. They played it quite marvelously, which means that this series is going to be a game 3. Unless I have dementia. If I have dementia, it might be over. But I think it's going to a game 3. I don't know, man. I do need more water, that's what I know. But yeah, this game, again, just as the first, even if it showed to be a bit more dominant show, maybe from the side of Eagles, the Deadbeat Dats did not go down easy, and they really showed like why these two teams are in the winners semifinals. Also, I did confirm it. It's a game 3. Oh wait, no, it's not. Is it? I didn't confirm anything. Don't listen to me. It is game 3, okay. Right, and after a little break, I'll be back with you for commentating game 3 of this series that have been great so far. Alright, and here we are with the last game of the series that have been quite a watch. We are on Gates of Obscura with the Awakenings to boot are being rapid fire. And I mean, do you even care what the second one is? Oh, it seems we have a technical difficulty, perhaps? Yeah. Uh, oh. Oh, yeah, they are requesting a remake. And okay, yeah, the technical difficulties being someone couldn't select the gear, and because I'm a spectator and I forgot to give permissions to a player, now we are forced to kind of fast score through this. This doesn't exist, this didn't happen, no one knows about this. Anyone who watches about it will forget about it now. Okay, we are back with an actual game this time because someone may have forgotten to pick a gear and someone else might have forgotten to give a player perms. But now we are back in the game with, again, as I was saying, Gifts of Obscura, Starting Awakenings being rapid fire, and who cares what the second one is because it's rapid fire. But if you do want to know, I think it was Glass Cannon. Um, but now we actually see a power play for the side of Deadbeat Dads, as I couldn't even see what took the life out of Dinfar here. But Vaughn and Saiton are defending quite great, nicely with this Drekar Dubu combo that they altered to, as we see Vaughn for the first time, I believe, not on an offensive character, but opting for Dubu. But perhaps it was just too juicy to resist on Obscura. And now we see Dinfar again on the Estelle with a Drekar forward, and Vaughn is own barriering. This is great. What a watch. And now the Tofu Fortress is here to block things from going worse. And the burst comes out of Saiton, but Nero doesn't care for what their age is. They can react to that. And Saiton finds the pinpoint angle, the pinpoint gap they need to hit it right in with the power from their invisibility, from their secondary. Now is gonna mean that the Eagles have an upstart in this set. As they go in second end, Nero again revives Leo Leon in this up corner from getting KO'd, declines the power play, and Lucas does manage to find the first barrier. And here we are defending, but the strike war is lost by Lucas, means that both teams are standing now on one barrier, but not for long, as Deadbeat Dads are missing their barrier, and so does Eagles, as both teams are exchanging barriers, going left and right, and now the portal might be utilized with this burst, but the burst actually is used on the Dubu roll. Primary? Primary. And now Dinfar is going to be looking to use their burst, not only to avoid that, but maybe to also get something going, but doesn't quite find it. But after that, the pass from Saiton through the portal is gonna mean, unfortunately, a goal for the opposing side of Deadbeat Dads, as unfortunately Nero has no abilities to protect that. Now, we see again damage being dumped on Leo Leon, but an unfortunate secondary from Dinfar means a barrier of their own is taken. And now Leo Leon is staggered, but they do manage to get an orb, and they do have their burst, so I doubt they will be taking off the arena just yet. And now Dinfar protecting his downside, as Vaughn is hoping to get something done in the up. And now the roll and the Tofu Fortress is gonna block the path, but Nero finds the angle, clears it with their burst, keeping both of their barriers safe here. As Leo Leon hopes to get something without their burst, Vaughn acts first with their burst, with their own burst, taking, meaning there is no barriers taken this time around. And now both teams are standing on one barriers, as Lucas is on the offense, are hoping to get something maybe, but Lucas is damaged heavily, means they have to back out. Same with Leo Leon, who is taking a lot of damage dumped onto them now, but they do use their burst in a, but, what, bro? Say something, talk to myself. Both barriers are taken by the burst, not only one team's, and now open net for both teams. Lucas is pushing forward, but the strike is not timed well to strike it in, but no worries, Nero's got your back, and with the passes, Leo Leon pushes it right in. Now, we will see Dinfar pushing in the bottom here, but again, that's a lot of damage coming on their side. But Lucas will be able to hold due to being a now. You can heal yourself. I've been saying it, but it is true and it does hold true. And now we will see Leo Leon trying to get those orbs to make sure they are on the field, but you can heal stagger, but you cannot heal knockback, as Lucas is taking out of the field power play for the side of Eagles. Now Vaughn is here too with the fortress, but Leon and Nero just do not want to give this away. The barrier stands, oh, but for how long, as Lucas might be back, but the barrier is lost. But now a power play for the side of deadbeat that is found, as Vaughn is gonna make sure that Leon does not get an easy burst off on their barrier here. They will use their patience, they will stall this out as Saiton is back in the game now, and here Dinfar does not want that burst to be used, but unfortunately a burst could be wasted on the side of Dinfar, as Vaughn used their own burst already to defend that. Now Dubu's Tofu Fortress comes through to maybe get the core through the portal, and Saiton dribbling through both of Nero's abilities and striking it away from them means that burst won't save him either, and that this set is going to be the Eagles. Vaughn, the LAN animal, is going to be the victor of this set as the MVP, and now gets first pick. Might want to deny something here, or maybe get something of their own, but I do believe they would maybe want to get something that is a deny and advantageous, stacks on stacks here. Actually, Lucas here opts for the Omega Infused Accelerator over the Heavy Impact, which I would myself prefer. Might mean that they will have to be more careful with their heals and keep them more to themselves, as they will be a lower max HP. But besides that, we see Fire Up and going into the hands of Estelle into Dinfar will mean that these bursts will be even more scary, and of course Heavy Impact on Drekar is always something to be wary of. But on the opposing side there are also some great picks, that being pick performance on an Asher, and of course Nero is starting to build up sparks, starting with the focus. But now, as I was saying, all that a great offense and defense both happened, only resulting in one barrier being taken on the Eagle side. Now, what a patience from Dinfar, but unfortunately they wait a bit too long this time, means they will have to surrender their offense, but now they are back on it, and Saiton finds the barrier through all that, and does also survive the encounter. Now, with the core placed on top of the goalie, and nowhere to clear, what can you do against the Drekar primary? Well, not much, it has been showcased, as we now get right back started. And now a portal pass does go through Leon. Now on the top corner we will see pressure. Nero utilizing their kit on the top corner, but the burst of Leon is unfortunately wasted, as a great pass from Lucas to Nero, but a greater intercept by Dinfar, and also with the fire up damage. And what a, I mean, that's what you get if you are too stuck in that little area with two bursts. I mean, what can you do when you are left alone like this? As Lucas, they didn't use their burst, they didn't want it lost, as they probably saw that there was no exit. Even if they did clear that, Vaughn was there to resupply the core. Now, this is set point for the Eagles, and an important one at that. Again, as we did discuss, Nero does want sparks, meaning they do want to win the set. And actually, as I was talking about, Lucas has to be more careful with these heals, as they are forced out of their burst to escape death, and now are forced to, again, out of positions to get orbs. But because of that, Nero can walk forward to assist, since they know that Lucas is on the back foot. Now, both teams have an open net, and they will be trying their best to make use of that. Lucas's teleport is a bit off positioned, but now Leon does go off with a great secondary primary that is held amazingly so by Vaughn. But now the burst is coming through from Leon in front of the net. What can you do besides pray and strike? Well, again, not much. And praying did not work out this time. But again, they are still sitting on that set point, and they will be wishing to get that quite. But the first barrier is found quickly by a secondary on Lucas, as the deadbeat Tats are looking for more from this bottom corner. Are looking to get out of this bottom corner, as the Eagles put on the pressure, and Saiton strike primary, a trusted and true combo, and actually Vaughn sits right on Leon and gets them out of the game. A power play now, Vaughn with so up forward. I mean, I was saying they, you know, altered to a more defensive goalie, but I guess in the hands of Vaughn, it just does not matter, as they take another MVP here. And unfortunately, Nero is pushed back to the furthest on the queue. Not that it matters, the sparks didn't appear this time around anyways. Might of the Colossus is denied from Leon and is picked up by Dubu. Reptile Remedy here is gonna mean that maybe they don't want it on the enemy team, as I haven't seen Leon taking too much damage, but Chrono Boost here on Drekar is gonna mean very bad things, is gonna spell very bad things for the Deadbeat Dads. Explosive Entrance, we see it in the earlier game too, is just great on now, gives you more damage as well as any secondary awakening is gonna be good on now. But a hotshot Estelle is found, which is very dangerous, as we know that awakening is great on that character. And bulk up, it just gives you something for Nero. I don't think he had better options. And now we see a top corner coming from the side of Eagles, and Din is going to be walking to the side, hoping to survive this encounter, and they do. And now the bottom corner, the portal work from the Eagles is quite immaculate. But now it is in the hands of Nero to push this forward, and Leon and Lucas are hopefully gonna get something out of this as Nero supplies them with the core again and again and again. And this, yeah, is just going to be a back and forth exchange until that goes away. But, well, it turns out there was another out, and that out being Leon getting down as they are pushed out of the arena. But now here, Dinfar doesn't quite far make it. The power play results in them actually losing a barrier rather than gaining one. But talking about gains, they do actually, right after the power play is ending, get both of the barriers. Does mean that both teams are now looking at open nets, and now Saiton and Dinfar is going to be looking for something. The back passes, back and forth is going to not only get them energy but also a better positionings. Saiton finds the gap here, and even though that gap is cleared by Nero, you cannot clear the second shot to the tower. I hope that's not insensitive. It's meant to be funny, guys. It's not insensitive. And now we see once again the Eagles are going to be on the offensive. Now Saiton finds himself alone with Nero, but they are not here for a date. They are here to play the game, and unfortunately that exchange, even though it didn't turn out, the exchange after that did mean that they lose a barrier and actually a power play. After exiting the portal, Dinfar just doesn't survive, and the power play results in a goal going right in. Now we see Saiton again. They just are more mobile, and this mobility seems to spell very bad things for Deadbeat side, as they cannot really pick up kills either. In fact, throughout this game, Eagles have been getting more power plays, but now Vaughn is forced into a tight spot. Uses their burst, finds the clear, and now the tight spot is reversed. Now it's on Nero to survive this pressure, as Saiton has to back up for an orb to get themselves, freshened. And now actually Vaughn, with the patience, does still manage to hold this barrier. Leon's burst will mean, with the primary, that this barrier will be taken open nets now for both teams. Saiton and Dinfar, however, are on the offense, dribbling. And what a kill again found by Saiton on Leon. Power play for the Eagles could mean disaster. Could mean that this game is over, but Nero with the strike shot holds it into the game, and they are still holding. What a hold, and the power play is now over. Now the advantageous side just might be the Deadbeat Dads, as Saiton is struggling with no HP and energy, and the core doesn't find the way to him. Vaughn is pushed in a bad corner, but almost almost an in. Now Leon in the top corner, into the top corner. Lucas uses their burst for that pass, and it does work out. They do save the set. What a hold that was from Nero and Lucas. And now we see once again they are holding, but Lucas is out of energy with that play, of course. And now Vaughn are not punished, never punished for walking that forward, as they position themselves quite excellently, I must say. But yes, now it does seem that both Vaughn and Dinfar is building up the bursts, but Dinfar does get forced to using some energy, and Saiton here has no energy and no stagger, but Vaughn is here to replace the forward, as they are here to take that role. I mean, it's a Dubu. You can do that. You are fat and you do make use of it. And now Dinfar it's gonna land on Dinfar's foot, and the strike denies the burst. And from that deny, it goes right in, crawling. And unfortunately, the strike shot just wasn't there to get it this time around. Means that the Eagles will take the series 2-1. Just have been great games overall. I mean, what can I even say? The performance was quite put out by both teams here. Glory put out to everyone that participated here. Every single person but one, I must say, is my MVP of this series. They are quite the animal. Alright, and with that said, I am going to be hopefully redirecting all of you to the main stream, as I will be waiting for my turn to commentate a loser's bracket game in the further games. And yeah, hope you have fun watching all of EU's LAN. See ya!